So we're going to cut straight to round 20 and see if Conrad can indeed capture that first title. And I'm pretty sure it's going to be Rob Robinsky that stands in his way of getting there. Pretty exciting stuff. Let's see. The winner of this game is going to be our champion from the Collins division. And frankly, 13-7 feels like a surprisingly small number of wins to clinch it. Usually it requires 14 or 15, Jesse.
There was parity. There was much parity.
A ton of parity, yeah. So anyway, Conrad's shaking up the tiles and handing things over to Rob, who is all smiles right now. Very impressive performance by Rob Robinsky in what I believe is his first big multi-day tournament back from, a longer hiatus than most of us have taken. Obviously, the pandemic, messing with some of that timing of how long have people taken off from Scrabble, but I'm pretty sure Rob's taken a few years off.
Yeah. It is great to see him out here back at the top tables. He was actually one of my mentors of sorts when I was starting out back in the Stone Age in the mid 2000s. So I'm pretty thrilled to be able to commentate this match.
And he opens with he draws an interesting opening rack of a bigot with two G's.
Baggett? That's a thing? Baggit?
Baggett is a thing. So this is a big swing between, if he is just going to play the regular word bigot, B-I-G-O-T, he'll have to keep a G on his rack. Whereas, as you suggest, Jesse, Baggett with both G's feels like it would be a significant improvement. This is kind of a word knowledge check here. Either you know it or not. And maybe Rob is simply not knowing that word and just plays bigot. It's a little bit of a drop off. Scores a few less points, and most importantly, that G, which without the I in the end to accompany it, not really such a great tile.
Yeah, the biggest thing about this will make Conrad's life easier because he now has some very simple plays for his OW, or he can play off NOW, deduplicate. So this helps Conrad pick up a little momentum.
Yeah, it's interesting. What will he play between just now underneath bigot? I definitely am expecting that for him. Or will he? I mean, there's a couple other choices that are at least worth consideration, like woon, W-O-O-N, underneath that O, putting the W there. And even ungown through the G of bigot has some merit. So I fully expect him to play now, N-O-W. It's actually not that easy. Well, it is pretty easy to re-overlap that, isn't it?
Yeah, the downside of now might be that it gives Rob very simple plays in response. Kind of if y'all have ever played Scrabble or if you played Scrabble over the holidays with the family, you ended up with the death staircase of 3-letter words just kind of going up and diagonally across the board. That's where we could have ended up just now, but Conrad has chosen to go a different direction.
Yeah, he's gone a little more aggressive there with wound. So I don't mind this choice, but maybe it's deceptively difficult to do much with it because you need a 6-letter word starting with a vowel to reach that triple. There are a lot of racks that don't really allow you to do that, including Rob's current rack. He doesn't have a great way of reaching the triple word score. And it puts a nice S hook out into space for Conrad, who draws. I thought he might have a chance of drawing soundly, but it was not to be. He's still going to be fine, though. Look at that. He's made a great Y spot for himself.
Very nice. And Rob has a decent play here. The rack doesn't look like much, but he can play down from the B. He can play Biza or Bays.
True.
I guess
either of those are pretty good.
There's some interesting suggestions from the chat about maybe keeping the Z and trying to create a strong scoring spot for it by playing something like Bagie, Bagie. I'm not sure that's really worth it here. Nice thing about Baze, Baize, or Baiza, Baiza, alternatively, is that you could easily bingo next turn. So I would probably take that.
Yeah, you could bingo next turn, and in each case, you retain a vowel that plays alongside the Z. So you have overlapping potential there if indeed you miss your bingos. Of course, the same would go for Conrad, right? It would make a really, really good overlapping opportunity for him as well. But in any case where Conrad doesn't play there, Rob would get a nice follow up.
Yeah, that could well be why Rob is hesitating for fear of giving up the cheap overlaps of the Z after Baiza. But
Right.
an advantage of something I like about Baiza is it also keeps EGI. Hmm,
Ooh, look at this. He's
interesting.
gone way off on the other side of the board to play Zine. This looks reasonable, except that leave is really having the three vowels and the G.
Well, given what Conrad actually has, this play is going to work out for him quite nicely because he actually
Yeah.
just blocked all those big Y plays since Conrad was going to play WYN, making NY and OW. I know those don't necessarily sound like words, but those are words.
Yes, they
Um,
are. Um, and let's see, is Rob going to somehow? Oh, he drew okay. He didn't draw his way out of that vowel heavy leave completely. Just the one consonant. I thought maybe he was going to get it an S or something and shock us there.
I would love to know Rob's rationale, but I suspect it was just the easy points that Conrad could have had if the Z were there. But let's see how Conrad has responded. So he's going to play the same word he would have played, but for fewer points.
Yeah, that seems okay. Just want to note, I'm seeing the suggestion on the previous turn for Rob of just playing a gaze and OWE, leaving II, but scoring 40 points. That seems kind of nice if you can stomach the two I's. Doesn't really give nearly as much back for the overlapping plays. So good suggestion by you all.
It's hard to say how it's hard to underestimate how terrible II is. That's my one hesitation about that. Like in terms of power ranking of double vowels, it's got to be something like EE, AA, OO, and then tier list. It's got to be tier D, II, UU. I mean, UU is tier F, but yeah, II is like a D minus.
Yeah, I mean, it is a duplicated vowel tier list should probably have a few blank tiers at the top, right? Like there are no, I guess everything is relative, right? I guess two E's would be the S tier duplicated vowel, but it's almost fairer to say that there's no S tier or A tier duplicated vowels in Scrabble. It's just not a great start to your next rack. It's always nice to have a vowel and a consonant, or even two well matched consonants by
Yeah.
comparison.
If all of our commentary is just kind of going into the void here, and you're brand new to the game, and you're slightly panicked about what we're talking about, actually, like a really simple rule of thumb is just get rid of the duplicates.
Yes.
That'll serve you. That'll serve you well.
So yeah, lots of suggestions coming. I see a guised through the Z of Zine. That seems okay. I definitely think Adieu underneath Wind has a lot to recommend it. Just getting a lot of points there, actually. 27 points leaving AG, leaving one of your two consonants. That feels pretty good to me. I know you do open a little bit of a scoring spot there with the A underneath the triple letter score, but I think I would be okay to stomach that here.
I think he has to play Adieu, and he's just, as we have seen all day, he's just being methodical about making sure there's no superior alternatives.
Yeah, we saw at least one game already where Rob played very sort of at ease, and we are going to see a Geist, which was suggested by Sagoon in the chat. Nice to see you, by the way. This seems okay. He's picking it up. He's chuckling. They're both chuckling. Not sure. Is this a word knowledge related chuckle? Is he saying, shoot, I don't know if this is good?
Starting to see that meme of the kombucha girl meme. It's like,
And he plays Ague there. That's all right as well. You get a few extra points paralleling the Z here. I guess it's interesting. You do get a lot more points here by plopping the D down at the end of this. 7 more points. So I feel like I prefer that, not only because it's more points, but it also might block a few of those reparallels alongside Ague. I don't know how you feel, Jesse.
I think when you get your tiles on the board, you start to really feel like, oh man, I got to make a decision. And I think if he had given himself 5 extra seconds to think about this, he might have played Agued instead, because I'm pretty sure he knows that's a word. With that said, his new rack is kind of exciting here.
It is. It is very interesting. This could be an opportunity for Rob to strike first here. I'm just looking. Does he actually have something that fits, actually?
He may not.
Because I guess a lot will depend on what Conrad's next play is.
Yeah, what should Conrad do first? Just playing the H's. Remember, the play your duplicates rule. Probably the next rule after that is play the big point tiles and score points. So I think HUH wouldn't be terrible. Is Conrad trying to say something to us? Herlosh. Herlosh?
Yeah, definitely. He is definitely a candidate here to send us a coded message at any time. What that is here, I'm not 100% sure.
He just wants to play Hurl. Okay,
Hurl is going to score a boatload of points alongside Ague here. Looks like a great choice for him. And if he does indeed do that, it feels kind of like that's not going to give Rob anything back in terms of a bingo. He might be able to reparallel it, though. Nice. Like that play. So
good points, yes.
Yeah, Hurl scores a ton of points, actually. And he hasn't committed the play yet, and there it goes. You see the timer. So, yeah, again, as you said, Jesse, it was kind of a nice wake-up call for me when you said, like, if anybody's watching along and hearing some of our more, technical commentary and saying, what the heck are they talking about? Definitely want to, zoom out a bit at times and realize we must have some viewers here who are relatively newer to our little subculture. So definitely want to acknowledge that. And also thank everybody for watching while we're at it.
For sure.
But those timers on the lower part of the screen, they indicate whose turn it is. And when you officially place a word on the board is, the official, your turn is over, is when you tap your clock. Until then, you can put a word on the board, pick it up, do other stuff. It's sort of unethical to use the word to use the board as a workspace. But until you actually hit that button on your clock, you can pick your word up and play other stuff. It's a little different than chess, where I believe if you touch a piece in an over-the-board chess game, you are locked into moving that piece.
Right, and if you knock over your king, you're summarily knocked unconscious by one of the arbiters of the contest.
That would be pretty impressive. Okay, so Fur is the play here, scoring 28. Definitely would have tempted me greatly to try to overlap all the way down, making Zells here, right? Like Fards, for example, Fards would have scored 51 points here. That feels like a expenditure of the S that's well worth it to me.
I wonder if he just had decided that he was going to keep the S no matter what, and he didn't look at that possibility, because 50 points is a lot of points to pass up. Are my eyes deceiving me? Did that just happen? Is this an Inception
What?
moment?
So Rob played off FIR and drew FIR,
You gotta be kidding me.
and now he's gonna bingo. Oh my God. It's the foresaid gambit, folks. You just keep drawing the same rack until you can bingo.
Incredible.
This is new Scrabble tech being developed before our very eyes. You just continue to draw foresaid until you bingo. Got to give Conrad props for his play here, but that's amazing. This game just never ceases to surprise you, Jesse.
Absolutely. I have a pet belief that when you draw the same rack twice, it's the rack telling you, no, try again. So
Yeah.
that could be a little of what we just saw there.
For sure. That's amazing. It is an interesting question of where to play this. He has two choices for said through either E of Imphi, which, again, got to give Conrad props there. Rob's going to play it in this spot. It scores 2 more points to do here. And playing for said 1 lane over to the edge of the board does create, and they must be laughing. Rob is chuckling to himself now. But playing
Conrad
this
will have
word,
no idea, of course. Yes.
True. Unless Rob tells him that. But playing this word 1 lane over does create a very big scoring spot to reparallel this word. So both plays have risk. You're opening triples with this positioning, but I don't mind taking 2 extra points and moving on, Jesse.
Yeah, I don't love that position actually. I would have slotted over to the right. This is gonna really bail Conrad out. Although I suppose that I am falling guilty to the same logical fallacy that I mentioned before of looking at what happened and then inferring that Rob was wrong.
No, I wouldn't say no. I don't say that necessarily. I feel like there's a reasonable argument to be made for placing this one row over.
There's a great comment from the chat about there being 2 spots, and that is a critical thing with these kind of maneuvers. That's a really subtle, high-level strategy nuance. If you're gonna create a scoring spot, create 2 of them so that you get a shot at one of them.
Yeah, that's definitely a frequently seen little stratagem. If you're, aggression, sometimes not warranted. Other times, if you're forced to be aggressive, it's actually best to be incredibly aggressive and create more scoring spots than your opponent can address on one turn. Both players kind of weird racks here. Conrad with 2 S's, but a bunch of vowels, and Rob with just junk. I don't know what he's going to do here. I guess you can just play pube and whoa here. That doesn't feel great, but once again, it leaves both scoring spots on the right side of the board open for the future. So if you can't, and Rob can't use either of them productively, it seems reasonable that maybe he'll want to leave them both open.
Yeah, this is, my previously mentioned heuristic for exchanging in this broadcast is if you can't score 20, might be time to chuck them back. Pube is 22, leaving EIU. So I think it's a bit of a coin flip, but I would probably soldier through and just play. Am I allowed to say the word pube on national television like this?
You just got canceled.
Okay. Well, it's been good.
All right. Take care, Jesse. It's been good having you in the booth.
Okay, bye.
No, I think you're good. It's only natural. It's not prejudicial. It's nothing like that. So I think it's okay. We can all appreciate pubes here. Please don't clip that. All right.
It's too late.
All right. So, but will Rob actually play that? I'm not sure. He's got other choices here. If he wants, he could play beep under there, leaving IUU, which is really nasty. That's just that the IUU leave is much more offensive to me than the word pube is.
Well, on the 3 vowel leave tier list, IUU that's like a D minus minus. I mean, that's just a world of pain.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. Rob's taking a lot of time to think this through. Would like to see, I mean, with a rack like this where there isn't going to be a great choice, a suggestion of Poodoo as well. Maybe you want to play Poodoo through the D aforesaid. That at least keeps one of your two consonants and somewhat obstructs one of the two triple lanes. Also, I would add, though, that the lower right triple word score is not as dangerous to me as the upper right one is, just because there's a little more flexibility in can you put a high scoring letter on that double letter score. And okay, Rob plays PU, which is kind of an interesting compromise. I actually don't mind this play, Jesse. It's not
just
great,
DEEU is just so far from being much of anything.
it is not. Yeah, it's not ideal.
Struggling to like that one.
Conrad's doing way better with his set of tiles there. He should be able to get a nice score somewhere in the 30s, certainly in that top area of the board. There's plenty of 5-letter words that he has. Oh, look at that draw for Rob, though.
Yeah, Rob knew. Rob, I am wrong. Rob, I'm saying it on camera, not on camera, on audio, but I was wrong.
That's, I mean, that's nice, right? He's definitely going to be able to do some good stuff with that QU next turn, even if it's just playing queer under OES, right? That's a pretty good score. I'm sure there's other stuff. Conrad's choice, Amide. I like this. Edema up there for 3 more points would have kept IS instead of ES, and ES definitely a better combination.
Yeah, the E and the S are good friends, especially with that IDE hook on column O right there.
True.
Like you really want that E big time.
So yeah, Rob is going to be able to salvage this situation here. He has his choice of some decent Q plays. Frankly, if he wants to, he could even play in the lower right of the board. He could play Rebel.
Oh, I love that.
To the triple and just keep his QU for next turn. Maybe if he does that, he'll draw into something that actually fits the Q on the double letter score, right? Like a 5-letter word starting QU blank blank E with whoa. That would be pretty good. So, but yeah, Conrad, you guys are the Conrad fans in the chat have reason to celebrate here.
Yeah, although the board is tight enough that I don't know where Conrad is going to place his newly acquired blank. It might actually take a little creativity because
True.
It is already pretty tight.
Board is tight, but Conrad is very comfortable under those conditions, and he will very likely be happy to maneuver his way and just maybe wait for Rob to open something for him.
Yeah. Going back to your point about this, a classic thing that we all face is, do I cash the power tell now? Do I hold on to it, just waiting for a really big scoring play? I really like that Rebel idea, Rebel making PIR and IDE, just because that blocks Conrad's most obvious scoring place. And the Q could go nicely on row 12. He could draw a QU play, hooking WO. You probably explained all this already, so I'm just kind of repeating you. But I really
no,
like
it's
that
good
move.
it's good to emphasize it. And I don't even know if I explained it that clearly. So it's good to have the extra explanation always. Good point that PU takes an M. If Conrad were somehow to have an M play there,
He has gone for
Okay.
Rebel. I like it.
Rebel. I'm impressed by that discipline to keep that QU together here. I actually do think that's a pretty creative, difficult play to pull the trigger on, and it's probably I mean, it's hard. It's certainly not a mistake. Is it like obviously the best play? I'm not sure, but it makes a lot of sense to me. And it takes a little bit of discipline to steel yourself to when you have a good cue play available to go and
Yeah.
play something else that's pretty strong.
That's Grandmaster play finding.
Let's see what he draws. Ooh, okay. So some decent things to work with. He still should be able to use his Q next turn. But anyway, it is Conrad's turn here, so we got to figure out Rob grabbing the lead with that nice play of Rebel. What to do here for Conrad?
So game situation, winner of this game wins the tournament, essentially, we think. Conrad's down 19, and he has a blank, so he should be at a slight advantage. But he can't really open the board too radically because there is another blank unseen, and there's a little bit of a deadlock. So he's not going to do anything too risky here. He's very likely to do something cagey that just kind of scores reasonably.
You like
something
AE in the top corner, as Sidewinder suggested?
Exactly. That's the he can afford to wait. Even though he has the blank and you think he might want to open something, I think he's going to play this one pretty cautiously.
Yeah, that looks pretty good. So there goes his hand to place those letters down. We like it. 22 points for 2 vowels is a pretty good return on investment there of just biding his time. As I keep saying, Conrad's very comfortable on a board like this.
Yes.
And I just wonder, so Rob is going to have a hard time passing up Quina here underneath Woes, making 1 and yay. Will that create enough space for Conrad maybe to draw something under there? I don't know. It's going to be tough for him to actually fit something there.
Yeah, this will be a good test of Conrad's bingo finding and creative overlapping abilities because it's going to get pretty tight.
It's definitely not out of the question to draw something ending in L in that lower right corner of the board with a Rebel, but that's not that easy to do. With the blank, all of those sorts of options become possible. But, the G of bigot, again, if you were to draw an IN combination, you might end up drawing there. But Conrad's not really close to that stuff right now.
That's right. I see a really good comment in the chat about us occupying kind of the intermezzo in chess terms. So it's just kind of a waiting period in the middle, a little bit of a stalemate. No one's taken a clear advantage. And we're kind of waiting for one player to strike first here. And neither of them wants to strike too aggressively because doing so could open a lot of good things for their opponent. So a pretty nervy moment here in this match.
And couldn't ask for a better type of game to be the decisive game of the tournament either, Jesse.
Absolutely. And he does play Quina here. Quina?
It's a lot. Quina? Yeah, Quina. It's a lot of points, 40 points, however you say it. And I don't believe it's going to give Conrad anything that big as a response play.
He is definitely going to look, though. Although he'd have to overlap both 1, putting an S or a T there, and then YEA. So it may actually be prohibitively difficult. I will say that Conrad has the option to continue with his scoring. So CIDE is a word in Collins, and OU is as well. So he can just play coat for what appears to be 30 points and I think he might just be happy with that. But let's see what he's doing here.
Yeah. That's the trick of that is if he plays COTE there, it's going to give Rob a chance to play something to the lower middle triple, potentially placing a letter there that doesn't allow parallel plays. So, for example, Jello Mocha is suggesting a play. I was thinking of just Jin, Jinne, after coat, no two-letter words with the J as the second letter. So that is going to be extremely restrictive to Conrad's options. He may have to draw something kind of more miraculous to one of the letters of bigot after a play like that.
That said, Rob does have good plays elsewhere, so he can also just play Jin on the left, underlapping Quina.
True.
So Rob is probably fairly happy, all things considered, with what might at first look to be a clunky rack.
Yeah, I wonder. So David Eldar saying the best two plays in the sim are nuts. And one of I don't know what those are. I guess
could he play Coquet through the cube, perhaps? Burn the blank, play Coquet for 44? I'm getting experimental here.
I mean, that's up there as I'm looking at mine. I still see Coat high up on the list, though. It feels like a very straightforward choice. But I am, Cot is the interesting option, just holding the E back. There actually are very few. There's only one S left. There's only one E unseen. And then there's a bunch of T's unseen as well.
Right, because COTT is valid.
But there's actually a much lower amount of hooks than you would usually expect. Again, there's only one E unseen to Conrad here, which I feel like that's the wieldiest, other than the S, of course. I can't imagine coming up with that play here. But Conrad,
I think Conrad is capable of it.
I agree.
It depends how much he's fixating on finding a bingo versus thinking kind of holistically about what he can do. But
it's a great point. Yeah, it's as you say, Jesse, it's less about, obviously it's very aggressive to try to get a bingo down there, but also if you brick your draw and draw poorly to your bingo, your hopes of bingoing, you also preserve an opportunity of, oh my God. Oh, no. I thought maybe. Maybe
I'll look at it again, because you see he's looking at his tracking. He just looked to the left at his tracking. He's staring at his play. Of course, now he's telegraphed the E, but that would make it especially savvy play if he just picked up the E after showing it to his opponent. I wouldn't see that every day.
Yeah, even if he didn't play the E, if I'm in Rob's shoes and Conrad plays Cot, I gotta give him credit for something like ES on the leave, right? Like, no way is he playing that without holding some of the hooks. So,
but you can't even do much about it if you're Rob. You kind of just live with the knowledge that you're about to have something brutal done to you, and just kind of go on with your life.
Yeah, exactly. And Rob, to his credit, with not that much time left, he immediately responds with the play that we suggested he would in this case, just playing Jin. The beautiful thing about that J is that it restricts all bingo possibilities on row 14. A different letter might not have been so restrictive, but Rob had not only the J, but also the V available to him to execute a play like that. Definitely like this for him, Jesse.
Yes, and we're changing to a different phase of the game here, where Conrad's going to have to chase a little more aggressively, potentially, because I don't see the K or the X that he has doing much of anything. And he might have to be a little more, he might have to think a little bit more about opening up some spots for himself. And the fact that he got to this position maybe indicates why Cott was important, because thematically, maybe he needed to realize that it was already time to start creating spots for himself. But that time has passed, and now we're going to find out if he can keep things interesting here. Because otherwise, if they just keep trading 30-point blows back and forth, Rob will just win by default.
Yeah, it's starting to get to that point on the scoreboard, and you can see Rob has drawn that second blank too. So things looking very good for Rob here, but I would never count Conrad out to navigate this board somehow and figure out a way to get it done. I really am not sure what he's supposed to do in the short term, though. Definitely want to get that X off the rack. Not sure if you want to just play tucks through the U of Quina. The thing that really troubles me about that play is that a play through the Q or U is really one of the best ways to sort of create space here on the board, and just playing tucks through there eliminates that as a future option to sort of open up more columns of the board for bingos. Tough. Yeah, it is tough. Great comment by Professor Sneasel Weasel, whose name I will never stop loving. That Rob has valuta through the U of Quina, which would be tremendous for that exact reason, to sort of put a V in an annoying spot.
Yeah, this is where champions are made, and especially with the clock ticking down to sub 8 minutes, it's time to come up with a plan and try to make it happen. I almost wonder if Conrad has to do something like keg to try to set up an S hook or something on column F for 18. Looks pretty dreadful, but it doesn't set up a very good lane. But I'm just not sure what else Conrad is threatening here.
You could sort of you could do Tisk underneath Quina as a waiting move here. TSK, keeping your EX combination, scoring decently well. You're getting a little bit back in the score column. It's still not great, but EX blank, maybe if you can just continue to score well enough, you don't need a bingo. If you can somehow engineer a good X play here.
The G is still open. The G of Bigot is open for an ING bingo. So I will say that I think Conrad is okay with scoring and waiting and just kind of waiting to hit the G. So I think Tisk, and Conrad, I believe, flashed Tisk on his rack earlier.
Yeah.
So I bet that is what he's going to do. Just as I say that, he's picking up some different letters. So what do you have in mind, Conrad? Let's see.
I know. This is a brutally difficult tail end of the game. And he is going to play tuck. That was suggested earlier as a possibility. And this is a nice way of dramatically increasing the value of his S. I wonder if Rob be tempted here to burn his blank and play down there, or is that too premature?
I
don't think he should, but man, I would be sorely tempted to just, after a play like that, to just play Vast or something. I don't know.
I think that G has to temper things, where even if he scores 20, Conrad can just bingo to make an ING.
What about baklava?
Oh my God, that's too good.
Baklava for 42, right? That's kind of nice. I don't know. It's nice, but are we sure, right? Because, man, I don't know. Is it really so bad if you're Rob to acknowledge the threat of the ING possibility? It's still in the pool lurking. Sorry, let me get the tracking's not right. I'm gonna get it so that it looks correct for you guys.
Okay.
This is
I'll talk. You track, I talk.
No, I think it should be momentarily updating, but you should talk anyway.
I was ready to do my part. A lot of this is pretty fascinating. I mean, Rob could go Vag here. Well, I'm not going to pronounce it with the other pronunciation, but he could go
Yeah, fair
VAG and
enough.
just really, really constrict things. But I think
Yeah.
he
Well,
will. Yeah,
what about that? What about just VAT on top of Bigot too?
right, same play. But I think he will respect the S hook that Tuck set up. And there he is. He's playing the lat.
Lat. Very interesting. This one is definitely. I get the blocking instinct there,
You
but
could have given me years, and I would not have come up with that as a candidate play. That doesn't mean it's
yeah.
wrong, but very
The
interesting.
V, I mean, the V is just in general an unwieldy tile, even on, even
Oh,
on.
does Conrad have
Oh,
Desoxy? Desoxy? Oh,
he
someone else,
would, yeah,
Jalamoka, spotted that. Whew.
he would for sure. So that would be a pretty. So you're saying to burn the blank and score 53 points with Desoxy here. Hmm. Very interesting. I don't know. That's tough. Does it get enough points? Maybe it does, right? It could. It could be enough to make it worth it. The margin, let me make sure everything is correct here with the tracking and the score. Um, so, yeah, geez, Jesse.
Just have to think
53.
that he's never going to bingo again after lat. Oh, he's playing D6 instead of Desoxy.
Ooh, okay.
Interesting.
So this is I mean, with the time dwindling, I think this is a reasonable idea. At the same time, you get a bunch of extra points by, well, not a bunch, just a few extra points by playing the 3 extra. So I think,
Yeah. And of course,
um,
he doesn't know that Rob has the blank, right? From his perspective, he's emptying 5 tiles from the bag or 6 tiles from the bag. So there's a fair chance he could pick up the second blank on this. He's not going to in practice, but from his perspective, I totally get his decision to play the first blank.
wow.
No, lat is reasonable on reflection because it's functionally the same as any of the other V plays like VAG or VAT. It's just maybe Rob decided, hey, I'm going to keep the V in case I need to block some more stuff
That could
later.
be. Yeah, the
And
V
lat
could.
scores more. I mean, I see where he's coming from now.
Yeah, it makes a bit more sense as I think about it. You do run into some issues with this V just being difficult to unload on the board as it is currently constituted. But of course, he had a reasonable expectation of Conrad opening something, and then the V would have been handy. So, yeah, tricky. Clocks are ticking. This is going to be, I mean, this is obviously trending towards an incredibly complicated, tight end game.
And they're going to have
And
3 minutes each to unravel it. It's going to be
yeah,
crazy.
yeah, this is
Oof.
just as Benji Scrabble in the chat or said earlier, a banger of a game to end the tournament on. And
Shivers. Yes, what a great play.
Suggested play. 30 points for Cray. Under pressure, Rob finds it. That's a big play for him to go up by 20 on this kind of ugly closed board. And now 2 tiles in the bag for Conrad, but Rob could easily draw the other V here. That's going to be a big issue if he draws both. I guess he does have Vav and Vague. Oh, there it is. Oh, man. Okay. I
My
don't even
goodness.
know how to begin evaluating this one, Jesse, because there are just no points on offer
Yeah. So the
pretty
first
much
thing to,
anywhere.
sorry to talk over you. The first thing to figure out that Connor's going to ask himself, especially under time pressure, is do I need to bingo to win? And
Yeah,
if he really can't score, then we're about to enter fish town, in my opinion, where fishing means you play one letter and try to get yourself a bingo. And he's already
yeah.
thinking that way. You can tell because he has the T right there in hand. So he's might be going to fish town.
The problem with fishing here, of course, is that any fish that Conrad makes can be countered with Rob using his blank, right? That blank on Rob's rack it makes it so that any move Conrad makes, hoping to, if he plays lag, trying to set up slag, Rob can just burn his blank and block that spot. So it's hard to
Yeah.
see what type of fish Conrad can actually make that will sort of be impervious to Rob's blank in response.
Right. And he may be fishing thinking that he has to draw the blank out of the bag also. Remember that he doesn't know that the blank
True.
is on Rob's rack. So
That is true.
because we have what do we have in the pool doesn't there's en blank in the pool.
Yeah, En blank are all in the pool. It
Or
happens.
En is in the bag.
En is in the
blank are
bag
unseen.
now. Yeah, En is in the bag that they are playing with right now. Okay, there it is. This is the exact sort of play, right? This or lag or something like that.
He's going for Jira Soul with an A. That's why he played the T instead of the L, I think.
Oh, right. Yeah, that makes sense. He's drawn an N, which I don't think fits anything for him here. But I have a hard time seeing how Rob just burning his blank and playing Vovs and Stag isn't gonna finish this off pretty emphatically here, and that is what he's gonna play. So, this looks like it's going to be Rob Robinsky. Let me make sure you guys are getting the accurate information. It looks like that play puts Rob up by 37 here in this end game. That feels like way too much, especially with Oten and Toya as outs for him. This looks like a GG scenario. Wow, crazy game. Neither player getting really even close to breaking 400 points in this game.
Jeez, what a thrill. And it's funny because in hindsight, I think it felt like Conrad had plenty of time to bingo with his blank, but the board really closed down faster than I think any of us understood. And those subtle plays like caught that could have kept a bit of tension in the board, or they're the kind of thing that Conrad's going to look at whenever he reviews this footage. He's definitely going to wonder if he should have done that or not.
Caught would have been just incredible to come up with. That really, even looking at the unseen tiles at that phase, I would have been so apprehensive about making that play. And Conrad is going to go ahead. This is not a valid play, but he knows that he's got to just go for it. And maybe he's wrong that Sag is somehow a word that he's never seen before. So just for the record, this is a desperation play by Conrad. It's going to come off the board, and Rob's going to go out and secure this victory at the Crescent City Cup. Very impressive stuff, Jesse. Wow. All four games have had a lot for us to chew on today.
Whoa, what a day. I feel like I just played 4 games of high-level Scrabble myself. What a treat. I gotta throw my gloves on and get out there. What are we doing on the sidelines, man? This is great stuff.
I don't know. I always get my juices flowing to start playing again when I do these commentary stints. So all right, the word Lorings challenged off. Toya, the best outplay for Rob Robinsky, collecting a few more points from Conrad from that endgame rack of Lorings, and that's going to do it. Rob moving up to 392 to Conrad's 330 and capturing the Crescent City Cup title of champion in the Collins division. Just throwing out also that Axer Typo fans, I think it's time for you guys to rejoice as well, because it looks like he came away with the win, beating, well, I guess not losing to Ori Swift by like 500 points or whatever it is that he needed to lose by. So Axer Typo, your champion in the NWL division. So, wow. Amazing stuff. Like you said, Jesse, this tournament really one of the crown jewels in the tournament calendar here. Only thing better than commentating would be getting out there and playing as well.
Oh yeah, this is one of the. Rob is going to remember this as one of the highlights of his Scrabbling career, especially after 3 years of being out of the scene, and just the best players in the world, or at least in North America, show up here. And coming out on top across 3 days is not the kind of thing you can do without both a good dose of fortune, but also just real grit and great tactics. And Rob really showed it this game. I was really impressed by both players, but I love some of the outside the box stuff that Rob tried that game. Stuff like lat. That's really a mark of like just really thinking deeply and not just autopiloting, but really, yeah, just very impressed with how deeply both these guys dug to try to win this one. This is a treat.
Couldn't agree more. Seeing in the chat also that Dave Weekend somehow snuck back from 6.5 and 7.5 into second place, which is just amazing. You really can't keep that guy down. We were saying it earlier in the first day that Dave Weekend is sort of one of a kind in many ways, and somehow he came back from a really rough day too to completely resuscitate his tournament and potentially come in second. So amazing stuff. The results are continuing to file in, but I think the most important thing is to give kudos to both Rob Robinsky, our champion. Conrad came so close, gave an incredible effort. We saw him a number of times on the top board. And yeah, I think that's going to do it here for us from New Orleans. So any final thoughts, Jesse, before at the very least we cut to a break and see exactly what we're going to do?
The preeminent final thought here, for sure, is MVP, real MVP, Will Anderson, yourself, because I just stepped in for a morning of this right now, and I am gassed. So, Will Anderson, 20 games of commentary, uninterrupted, just delivering the insights, the banter. That's like we are witnessing greatness, people.
Oh, please. Thank you very much.
I'll tone it down a little bit, but seriously, it's a real joy to get to do this with you. Let's do it again sometime.
Right back at you. We'll give some thanks, obviously, to producer Christian K. Does an incredible job behind the scenes, making things look amazing and run smoothly. The whole Crescent City organizing team, Austin Lindsay Shin, Lila Crotty, Kate and Tim Fukawa Connolly. Of course, the stream coming in partnership with Scrabble Go. So gotta give my kudos there. And of course, in partnership with WGPO and Collins Coalition. And lastly, my thanks to my co-commentators throughout. Just want to list them out: Ben Schoenbrunn, Morris Greenberg, Cecilia Lee, Evans Clinchy, and of course, Jesse Day. Thank you, Jesse. I had a blast commentating these games with you.
Yes. Now it is time for some kind of hydration, some kind of relaxation, because that was, if I don't know how intense that felt to the viewers, but that was just about the pinnacle of how the tournament's coming down to the wire. So yeah. Stay tuned for some Easter eggs right here, some extra quality time with us.
Yep. So I think we're going to take, at the very least, a quick break and figure out if we're going to do anything like the award ceremony or anything like that. So if you want to see these players get their much-deserved kudos, rewards, cash prizes, stick around. But thank you to everybody who has watched thus far. Really appreciate everyone's awesome, supportive, nice comments. It was really a blast with you guys. So let's take a break, and we'll be back soon and let you know what's in store for the broadcast. Okay, I think we are live. Just let us know, everybody in the chat, if you can hear our audio okay. Hopefully all is good, because we've got our champion, Rob Robinsky, here to give him his incredibly well-deserved kudos on this championship from 2023's Crescent City Cup. Rob, how are you feeling right now?
I mean, it's going to take a little while to bleed the stress off of that game. I mentioned it after the game. Like, Conrad is about the last person I would choose to go up against in a board control, like, really tight game. Like, he's one of the best board control players I know, hands down. And just, I feel pretty fortunate that, like, the tiles just kind of they were conducive to that game, because otherwise I feel like I would have been at a pretty strong disadvantage with just the way that he's able to strategize turns ahead. It's something that I've tried to emulate, and I feel like I did a decent job of following along with them.
Yeah, I had even said, and Jesse, I'll let you jump in with a question after this comment by me. I had even said that I felt like you were showing that same kind of instinct that Conrad is known for, just a really sort of canny sense of board control, not opening up opportunities needlessly for your opponent. It seemed like the two of you were pretty well matched. So going strength to strength there in that last game, and you must I think we saw you face off against him once or more, like a few other times. So that was not your lone meeting. So we were just really impressed with that level of play. But Jesse, any questions for Rob here?
Yeah, I have to echo what you said, where we actually talked on the commentary quite a bit about Conrad's defensive fortitude, but I think your success today speaks to your versatility and ability to adapt. So my big question is, were there specific moments where you did things differently because of your opponent in that game?
Let's see. I'm at a bit of a disadvantage here because I don't have my score sheet in front of me.
Right, you're kind of making things hard on you. It's like, perfectly recall what happened and tell us. But anything that stood out in particular?
Like, certainly the lat play to take off the last really realistic bingo opportunity on the board. I don't know necessarily that that's a Conrad specific response, so much as it was that, given the shape of the board, the fact that I have a V and a blank in hand, and I'm nursing a tempo and 20, 30 point lead at that point, like, I felt really good about my chances there. D6 coming down was almost the worst case scenario for me. The only thing that would have been really worse from that perspective is if he had the second E instead of the blank on the board. But I mean, especially once we got to the point of the board where like foresaid comes down, I had a couple of opportunities where I was kind of 50-50 on whether to try to open up a board or continue keeping it closed down. Yeah, like I'm looking at the board here. I guess in some respects, my decisions were forced a little bit in that, like, my post bingo draw was so awkward.
Right.
Like that was an opportunity where, like, in a more open game, or one where I'm just feeling like the game is going to progress in a more aggressive, open manner. At that point, I would probably have exchanged most likely 6 instead of playing Pew to just basically kill the quadrant as much as I could. And in that case, like, I played Pew with the expectation that if I don't make a play like that, Conrad is going to. And at that point, I'm still slightly ahead. And then it's just trying to maintain the ability to act rather than react.
Makes a lot of sense. I mean, speaking of reacting, we on the stream, our eyes just about bugged out of our head after your play of Fur, parallel to Hurl, and then we looked and I said to myself, is something wrong with my stream? Did I not buffer correctly? Because you played off the letters FIR and then drew them again and bingoed. I'm sure you were thinking, if only I had an E to play through with this rack. And then, cosmically, karmically, you got another one and played it. I mean, did you take note of that during the game? Because we were all kind of going berserk on Twitch there.
Yeah, I did my best not to just visually react when I drew those tiles, but I was definitely laughing on the inside, 100%. And after I played it, I told, like I mentioned to Conrad, that I drew exactly what I played, and his response was, I mean, it worked out this time. I was like, and it did.
Yeah. Yes, it did. That was just amazing. You never know what type of stuff like that you're going to get in a Scrabble game. But I have to say, maybe the most stylish play that we saw on stream, not in this game, but in a previous one that you played, was your bingo of Insidious. That's one of the nicer plays I've seen go down on a Scrabble board in recent memory. That had to have felt pretty good to spot that one too. Ooh, I lost Rob's audio.
Director says, Will, can you call it ASAP? We might have had the plug pulled by the director.
Oh.
Okay. It sounds like we're about out of time, but I mean, I do appreciate the compliment, Will, and
yes.
Jesse as well. Like, I saw it pretty quickly just because those tiles don't go in a whole lot of other ways. And the hardest thing for me was making sure that I actually was spelling it right and putting them in the right order before turning the board around. So.
Yeah, that was awesome. Anyway, it sounds like the award ceremony is set to start. So, Rob, awesome performance. Really, excited to see you back on the scene, but no surprise to see you taking down such a big, prestigious tournament like this. So congratulations again, and we'll let you get off and collect your check and other kudos from the players in attendance.
All right. Thank you so much, guys. And thanks for doing the commentary. You guys like the broadcast team is always a highlight of these tournaments as well.
Oh, it was fun. It was a treat to commentate these games, man.
For sure. So maybe a quick break and then the award ceremony coming right up.
Online, we have Will Anderson commentating for something like 25 hours. And so he's in that box. Other commentators included Jesse Day and Benji and Cecilia and Evans and somebody else who I forgot. Lawrence. And so all of that we really appreciate. It really does make the tournament so much better. And then you got to thank our director. Lindsay has been running around the league for she's also the organizer, so when somebody was like, hey, can this happen, or who do I give money to, that's all Lindsay. So we're going to kick off.
We couldn't do this without Tim.
All right. So we're going to kick off. We're going to give out some money. It's 2:05. I feel pretty good about this timing. We're going to go in NWO like CSW like NWO Open, CSW Open, and I basically flipped a coin to figure out whether we were giving the money to NWL first, to CSW first. NWL, you came out first. So our NWL friends, we are starting from the least amount of money to the most amount of money, and so that means.
And you will get your money electronically, or if you gave it to me via check, come see me up here. We'll make sure you get your money.
The same
Period. Yep.
Yeah. So that means Divisional L high loss, $10. Brian Garnett has 468 versus Brian Whitman. Andy's repping Rubles. We do love us some Rubles. Division L's high win was in round 20. Ooh, Lisa Perry brought in a 605 to wrap up. $10. In sixth place, Bag and Tiles. Kia Lindsay, 12.5 plus 805. And then we
Is this
split,
wait, I'm sorry,
we
is this
split
a-
the L division into top half, bottom half. And so
Is this
class
class prize 2? I'm sorry.
sixth place. Sixth place. So we split the division into halves. And so bottom half, this is your class prizes. Second class prize wins $190, and that is Jerry Ann Abriano with a 12-8 record. And if you also had a 12-8 record and you had 80 points more spread, you could have upgraded that because Diane Whitman also had a 12-8 plus 365, and she's going to win $250 for first place. In fifth place, and this was a surprise to her, with her 13-7 record, Betsy Wood is winning $350. With another 200 spread points, Ferdinand Otto has a 13-7 record, 662 spread. He's in fourth and is winning $460.
I haven't.
With another 26 spread points, Samuel Hyman is winning $560 for being in third place, 13-7, 668. She was trying to leave, and then she was like, wait, I won something. I'll stay. How much dollars did I win? And the answer is $810 for being in second place. Lavon P. with a 14-6 record. She brings her own booting section. And then winning that division with a 14-6 record plus 550 spread is Nancy Bowen. Take the money for a $1,320 prize. $1,320. Collins Lights. All right. This one's on 3 different pieces of paper, so bear with me while I shuffle things about. Collins Light High Loss is Emily Brodeurs, 477 to Ayatunde's 478, so that one point. So we're giving her $10. The high win in that division was Lola's 501, 348. So we're giving Lola $10.
Lola, woo!
And we took this division over here, we divided it in half as well, and your class prize winner in CSW Open is getting $210. CSW Light, sorry, your class prize is that's Guy Ingram. So he's getting $210 for his 11-9 record. Plus 470 spread. Again, had no idea he was winning money. So stay around, you might win something, you never know. In third place in that division, he was leading it forever. Ayatunde Adieri is bagging tiles for third place. Jeremy Jeff, 200 spread points for 552 spread, is winning $520 for being in second place. And Wahid Iqbal won the whole shebang over there with a 15-5, 851, and we're giving him $850 or $840 for doing so. Congratulations. Wajid. Greatly apologize. Wajid. All right, switching back to this other piece of paper. We're now going back to NWL again. High loss in NWO Open was Noah Kalis' 501 against Zach Ansel's 513. High win in that division was Wally Schultz's 620 versus Steven Schweitzer's 347. So we're giving him $10 as well. I think we're only giving out prizes to tall people in that division.
Everyone's tall compared to us.
So Jackson Smiley is in 6th place in that division with a 12-8 plus 684. So he's winning bag and tiles. 6th place, bag and tiles. 6th place, bag and tiles. All right, so we're switching into class prizes for our open division. 3rd place class prize is Zachary Ansel's 11 and 9 total record for $170. Less tall, but he's going to get there. Billy Nakamura is 2nd place class for 220. He had an 11 and 9 record as well, but had 40 more spread points. And then 1st place class for $270, Stefan Vastas with an 11-9, 273. And he had about 30 more spread points than Billy. On the other hand, his daughter, Chloe Vastas, finished in 5th place for $420. We're going to make a picture together. And it's because she beat him on the stream that she won. Yeah, you got it. In 4th place in that division is Joey Kravchuk for $530, 13 and 7 plus 689. In 3rd place in that division is Dean Saldana with a 14 and 6, 749 for $700. In 2nd place is Ori Swift, 15 and 5, 650 for $960. We don't know how that translates to Canadian, so. And then in 1st place, Josh Sokol, 200. I can't even say the words. $2,500. For 15 and 5, 11 and a turkey. Hey, look. That's the reason that these folks are able to be here and do that thing. Plus some kids. All right, in CSW Open, our high loss is Bob Lynn with a 478 to Josh's 603 in round 15. So we're giving Bob $10. And the high win in that division was 638, and that's Bradley Whitmarsh. So we're giving him $10 as well. And 1 minute. $10 in 1 minute. Class prize over there. Class prize over there with an 11 and 9 minus 304 spread is Erickson Smith or Eric Smith. And he's going to win $160. Yes. We're back in the tall people. And first class prize over in CSW Open, also with an 11 and 9, but plus 463 is Mohammed Suleiman. And he's going to win $190. I don't know where you get the $10.
I'm going to do it later. I'm going to electronically pay you.
Mohammed is not here. All right. And moving up the list, in fourth place, Chris Lipe is winning a tile bag and tiles with a 12 and 8, 395 record. There were a whole lot of 12 and 8s in that division because Conrad is also 12 and 8 with a 494 spread, but he's winning $410 instead because he finished in third place. Congratulations. In second place, Dave Regan with a 12.5, 7.5 record and 1,100 spread points. And he's winning $680. Winning and light up beats for always being here. And Rob Robinsky wins the whole enchilada on that side with a 13 and 7 record, 737, and he walked away with $2,500 and a trophy.
Very nice. Very nice.
So the folks over there asked what time you're going to be finished, and I said we're going to finish about 2:15. It's 2:17 people. Thank you all for coming. It is your joyous presence that makes this the tournament that it is. Come back. I don't know that we can breathe in the cup. Thank you so much.